Thank you for tuning into the New World New Employee Safety Culture Webcast Series brought to you by React Mobile. I'm Robb Monkman, the CEO of React, and today we're focusing on Hawaii, as some of the nation's largest resorts say aloha to safety. Joining us today is Ryan Doi, the Corporate Director of Information Systems for Prince Resorts. Ryan has been with Prince Waikiki and Prince Resorts Hawaii for over 16 years, but his IT career really began in 1991 as a computer specialist with the State Department of Health. His mindset has always been about finding efficiencies, so the world of IT is a perfect fit. Always evolving with ever-changing ways of doing things better and faster. As the Corporate Director of Information Systems at Prince Resorts Hawaii, he oversees the technology needs of 3 award-winning oceanfront resorts, 3 world-class golf courses, and the various entities tied to them. He can honestly say there is never, ever a boring day. To keep current, Ryan is also an active board member of the HLTA, HITC. Aloha, Ryan, and thank you for being here with us today.
Aloha, Rob.
Well, let's jump into it. You know, it's looking like a lot of travelers are going to need to shelve their Hawaiian dreams for a little while longer. With Hawaii canceling the planned August 1st reopening for visitors, and it's looking like travelers with a valid negative COVID-19 test might not be able to visit the islands until at least September. What does this mean for Hawaii, the hospitality market in Hawaii? Will this pushback cause some hotels to close their doors for good? And what happens if hotels are required to remain closed until 2021?
It has been very difficult these last few months. As you know, the hospitality industry is the #1 industry in Hawaii. So we have a lot of unemployment right now, a lot of people out of work. Businesses are being affected quite a bit. I mean, it's nice that we're getting the federal assistance, but for businesses in Hawaii, like hotels and so forth, everyone is hurting. We're aching to get back to work, but we want to make sure we do that safely and responsibly.
So describe some of the concerns around COVID and maybe some of the things that you're doing to build confidence, not just with guests, but also with your employees.
One of the things that we've been working on seriously is the making sure that we remain safe, not only for the guests that come and visit us, but also for our employees to make sure that they're safe. We're putting together, training programs and so forth, so that everyone knows, what they need to do, how they need to respond, and the best way to assisting our guests to have the experience that they need. Save so much for this lifetime vacation. So what we've been working on primarily is to create procedures that address guest and employees' safety by using shields, PPE, social distancing, new cleaning products. One of the things that we were fortunate about with the civil unrest is that in Hawaii, we've had protests, but none of the protests that we've had became violent or destructive in any way.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Across the country, some of those protests did take a turn for the worse, but nonetheless, we're glad that people's voices were heard. As you think about really providing that top tier level of service for your guests, employees are so important. How would you describe the new employee safety culture in Hawaii? And there are, mandates that have been sweeping across the country with regard to employee safety devices and panic buttons. Are employees really concerned about health in Hawaii, or are they just really eager to get back to work, knowing that the hospitality industry really, as you mentioned, is one of the primary industries and source of income for many people in Hawaii?
Right. Safety in Hawaii is paramount amongst our people. I mean, it has always been. It's been one of the mantras that Prince Resorts Hawaii has always impressed on their employees to make sure that we remain safe. One of the things that we have done last year was to implement that, the React Mobile's panic button. We weren't mandated, we saw it coming down, but it was the right thing to do to make sure that our most vulnerable employees are protected. So we took the stand And we took the steps to make sure that we had that in place to show our commitment towards employee safety. And that goes, even further. How we feel towards our employees are number one. Our president, Kisan Jo, when this whole thing started happening, he said, how can we take care of our employees? And one of the ways that we're doing that is we've extended medical coverage for all of our employees till the end of the year, irregardless if they're working or not. And I think that goes to show how much we feel for our employees. I've heard of other hotels as well in Waikiki that have also followed suit and extending the medical coverage. We take our employee safety, paramount first on the list. They are by far our company's greatest assets, are Prince Ohana, the Prince family.
Absolutely. That's really wonderful to hear. Really good on you for doing that for your employees. I think, it's always been our experience that Prince Resorts is definitely raising the bar on employee safety. When we get into a little bit more granular detail, discuss what someone would see when they walk through the doors of your hotel and they go to their rooms, as it relates to some of the cleanliness procedures and maybe the signage and things that you're implementing today.
Right. We have a whole procedure set up upon guest arrival and their stay. Upon their arrival, every guest will be met in the lobby by one of our ambassadors. They're going to provide an enhanced arrival experience to escort them through the check-in process. If they want to go to the front desk, if they don't feel comfortable going to the front desk, we have other areas that we could, help them with. Of course, we're going to maintain physical distancing. Each guest will be provided with a welcome amenity, which includes hand sanitizers and disposable masks for their use while they're here. We have already set up physical barriers at the front desk, which has been, suggested by HLTA as being one of the most concerning areas or areas that we need to take most concentration of in our front desk, as well as the concierge, because that's where we have the most direct people contact. We have touchless or minimize contactless check-in process where the guests would utilize their own credit cards and swipe their own. There's no transferring of material. We also have luggage assistance for the guests that would, if they wish to take their bags up to their rooms. Of course, the carts will be sanitized before and after each transport, as well as self-park. If the guest doesn't feel that they want anybody else to be jumping into their car to park, we have self-parking as well. We have a different type of cleaning process where we will do so upon, definitely prior to arrival and definitely after departure. But we have additional cleaning supplies, electrostatic misters that will help in the cleaning process of the guest room, taking, special care for the different touch areas like the remotes, the bedside tables, the phones, and the restrooms and whatnot. All of our employees will be wearing a company supplied mask. They'll be wearing that throughout the whole area. We also will be asking our guests to have their mask on outside of their rooms in the public area. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that the CDC and everyone has said to help the spread, because that's what we want. I mean, we have the lowest cases in the United States, and we want to keep it that way.
Absolutely. You guys are really taking a lot of measures. There was a lot of different things that you listed to really enhance the safety of your employees and your guests. You mentioned a really important fact, which is, wearing masks outside of the guest room is really critical to keeping those COVID cases as low as possible. What types of things are you doing to educate your guests the importance of employee safety? I kind of think of the green initiatives with guests, with signage in rooms and things like that to have people reuse towels. How are you educating guests of all of these different initiatives that you guys have undertaken to enhance safety?
Yeah, we're doing it at multiple steps. It starts all the way from the time that they make the reservation. We're explaining to them about what we're doing to ensure that they're safe, to ensure that their safety is on our minds. We have pre-arrival emails and letters that go out to the guests that detail all the steps that we have. We also advise the guests that all of our employees go through a training program, that all of our employees are educated and that they know. The lobby ambassador that meets them will also brief them on the different things that we have available, including if they feel sick, what to do. We have tent cards and information in the guest rooms outlining and detailing exactly, the what we're doing, the services that are available to them should they feel sick or, have any kind of concerns. That's how we're getting the message out to them, as well as, on-screen type information.
That's wonderful. You mentioned training. Can you talk about that a little bit more in depth? What training procedures do you have in place prior to your reopening?
Sure. In the last couple of months, we've had the time, but one of the things that we've done was we've created a comprehensive COVID-19 pandemic training, which includes safety protocols for the use of PPE, hand washing, cleaning, and physical distancing guidelines. All employees were required to go through this. We brought all of them into the hotel. Of course, we paid all of them to go through this training, and that will continue. We'll have reminder trainings as well. The training itself was 2 hours long that they had to go through. With everything that we have in place, all the procedures we have in place, everyone is abreast of this training. I think, and we're quite proud of that training and retraining process that we have in place.
That's wonderful. Great to hear all of that. As technologists, I'm always eager to hear how people are leveraging technology to honestly just make the world a better place. And in this case, a safer place. What other technologies are you investing in to put some distance between guests and staff for everyone's protection?
One of the tasks that was assigned to me when this started rolling out was first remote working, teleconferencing, and so forth. Although we've had many of these things in place like Zoom and so forth, we also started working on mobile check-in, in-room type tablets, removing of the paper compendiums and information that have a lot of, touch points that require cleaning or disposal, putting that on the TV or on tablets of some kind. Implementation of mobile keys so that the guests will utilize their own mobile device. We've implemented recently the ability for you to control your TV through your mobile device, and we're looking at also controlling all of your room, your lighting, your air conditioning, and so forth will be in there. Communication between the guest and the employee, so that if you wanted to order pillows, additional pillows, more towels or whatnot, you didn't have to go down to the front desk or pick up a phone. You can immediately put it into, into the system, which then gets responded to quickly. One of the things that we have been doing is to make sure that our food and beverage is still providing the services that we need. Although we can't do our buffet right now, we've enhanced our in-room dining and to make sure that we have touchless type delivery. But so some of the other technologies that we've used that we implemented were temperature scanning that reads a person's temperature from a distance, the electrostatic sprays that help to disinfect high-touch areas. Around the area, we've also made sure that we have all touchless fixtures like towels and soap dispensers, hand sanitizers are all touchless and throughout the entire hotel.
So we've covered a lot today, Ryan. Are there things that your hotels are doing now that, clearly you've described many things you weren't doing before that, you think your employees and your guests appreciate that you would continue post-pandemic? Or are some of the measures that we're putting in place today just temporary and will probably fall by the wayside post-pandemic? What are your thoughts there about some of the things you're implementing today as far as their benefits long-term?
Sure. Well, one of the things that we've always prided ourselves on was we always maintain the high standard of cleanliness. So that's going to continue. I think there's going to be a more emphasis on making sure that the area is completely clean of viruses. I mean, who knows what the next pandemic potential virus could be. So that protocol will remain. The response on how we handle a sick guest will also remain. There's a new program that we subscribe to called We Prescribe. Basically, it's a service that we pay into. That's should we suspect one of our guests being ill, or should they report to us that they're ill, they're able to provide a remote diagnostic in multiple languages. So that we certainly hope to, that we certainly will continue as well. With the new technologies that we're implementing, we knew that was coming even pre-pandemic. It's just the expectation of the guest, of the future traveler. But now it's even more so. Having these things in place is going to be more of an expectation, a must-have, and not a nice-to-have, which helps us to implement these things. What I hope will go away is the shields and the plexiglass and whatnot. Even the mask, I know it's important today, so we use it wholeheartedly, but to have that that face-to-face, that facial expression, the smiles and whatnot, I think that's a whole a lot of part of Aloha, I guess, and in the islands. So it's hard, you could be smiling ear to ear, but the person on the other side may not know that that you have such a warm, outlook. And so that's a couple of things that I hope will go away. I know it's necessary right now, but we will, we will survive. We'll get through this better than we were. I think more conscious than what we were, but yet finding the way to make sure that our Aloha shows through.
Ryan, thank you so much for your time today and for your insights. It's really great to hear that Prince Resorts is raising the bar on both employee and guest safety, putting your employees first, always doing the right thing no matter what. Really interesting technologies and training procedures that you have put into place. And yeah, definitely something you should be proud of. All things that are going to lead to consumers and travelers gaining confidence, and hopefully everybody is ready to travel back to the islands here soon. I sure know I am. So thank you, Ryan. And for everyone out there, please tune in for episode 3 of our webcast series.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Ryan. Aloha.